Hello everybody and welcome back to RogueTech, where we currently need to go rescue Savarok. We cannot tick forward because our mission to rescue Savarok will time out on the next day. So we're definitely not going to wait for the Bandersnatch. We're also not going to get payment for rescuing Savarok. I want to be clear about that. So that is going to be mildly awkward. No one will hire us for this. We're just going to have to do this. Drop light, go fast. No one is paying us to grind dozens of mechs into dust. Well, we'll see what we've got. We're not going to drop light. That's not going to happen. We're going to hop in here. We've marked a data store as an optional objective to see if they have any intel that we can sell. So that would be good. We're going to hop in here, and the Bandersnatch, of course, is going to be replaced by the Epimetheus here. And that, of course, should be piloted by Brick, correct? Correct. Okay. So we're going to drop this as it is. We've got our 12 units ready to go, and we're absolutely going to grind dozens of mechs into dust. That's how this is going to go. The Crossbow Rifleman and Crossbow X all have unused tonnage, and the reason for this... Well, one of the crossbows is normal. The other... Well, actually, no. The Rifleman is normal. The two crossbows, they didn't get their armor fully repaired, but we need to deploy, and we're going to do this. So, I'll see you guys after the loading screen. Okay, so here we are all loaded up, and let's see what we've got. This is allegedly going to be a 5-skull difficulty mission. So the interesting question is, how's this going to go? That's the target location there. It's likely going to be well defended. Evac point will be up here. Radiation is going crazy here. Oh boy, that's exciting. So this is the secondary facility right here. We can just spawn inside of the secondary facility. That seems interesting, for sure. I guess we'll do that. So now we've just got the data. So that's nice. Okay, what do we see from the enemies here? Well, these are Steiners, and the secondary data has been secured. I don't know what mech it was. But this Hunchback moves up. We see a Sunder, we see an Orion, a Marauder C, and then this out over here is a Maelstrom. Okay, so that's all noted. We're going to want to make for cover as quickly as we can. Oh, what is this here? An Orion. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to take the Archer out to this cover out over here. That Maelstrom closes in a little bit. That's fine.
Orders?
So the Black Knight is going to want to make for this cover up over here.
Going full throttle.
We'll do that. That seems okay. That Marauder C closes in a little bit there. This is our Crossbow X. The Crossbow X is likely going to be involved in punching out over here. But for the moment, I'm going to put it up in this cover, and we'll brace it. That'll be fine. We currently have spawn protection, right? So we gotta wait until the spawn protection is gone. The Grasshopper is going to position out over in this cover. We're definitely going to be going for the Orion with that.
Yes, boss.
Our Rifleman can head up to cover up over here. This is apparently in cover here. Alternatively, we could not sprint and just head here and brace in this cover. And that's what we're going to do. That'll be fine. This is our crossbow that has LRMs. So that really does want to back off a little further. And I guess here will do. That is in cover. Okay, what else do we have here? Well, we've got our Marksman SPG, and that's going to head down to this cover here. Seems good.
Yes,
the Nidhogg is going to make its way out this way, starting to accelerate. That'll be fine. Is this 2 lances? 1, 2, 3, 4 and a half. 2.5 lances. Okay, interesting.
Receiving you.
So the Epimetheus Prime is currently positioned here, and I'd like to put it up in this cover for now.
All right, full speed.
And we'll see what this Orion ends up deciding to do. It'll move fairly soon. Oh, that's a Seth Stealth VTOL. That's noted. And there's another unit out there. A Freedom. Okay, so there is a grand... That is a lot of LRMs. There is a grand total of 8 units. The Devastator is going to head up over this way. I'm a little concerned about that Seth, but it's a long ways out. So for now, I'm going to put the Devastator here.
Commander. Commander.
The Marauder, I'd like to take out over this way for now.
Affirmative.
We're just kind of splitting our units up. The Seth is definitely going to attack out over here. Almost certainly. That Orion moves up over here. That's convenient for us. I like that movement for us. And the Jerry-Rig Demolisher is going to head out over this way and start working on that Maelstrom, ideally. Okay, next round. So, the question is, when does that Seth move? Phase 21. It's going to be very hard to hit. It is stealth. It's got 11 evasive right now. This Hunchy moves in and does not fire. I like it for now. Now, they've rolled quite early in the initiative here, but that Marauder also didn't fire. That was this Marauder. That's noted. However, its back is turned here, and I don't really want to get in behind it because that'll expose our rear arc. So the Seth is going to move now. We are officially in the danger zone, and let's see what we end up having here. What are you going to do, Mr. Seth? Moves up. He's going to drop bombs right here. That is the obvious choice.
Protect that secondary asset, Commander. It's taking fire.
So he's going for the Archer there. The Archer is apparently the mech containing the intel. I had no idea which mech was containing the intel. It appears to be the Archer. To be honest, that wasn't that big of a hit. The Orion backs off and does not fire. The Seth has 15 evasive. And it still has a lot of weaponry.
How can I help?
We can't really hit the Seth. However, with the Seth already gone, I want to go rear arc on this Marauder. We're going to kick it, and we're going to do all of this. Now, they may get a rear arc attack, but they've already moved this guy. The only guy up here they haven't moved yet is the Sunder. So this position seems vaguely safe. We can hopefully one-shot this Marauder and eliminate it right away. UAC-5 ammo explosion there. And a knockdown. That was a lot of damage to that Marauder, but it is not gone. Okay, it's close. Very close to gone. Next up is going to be our Black Knight. The Black Knight is going to move in and rear arc kick this Orion. Definitely. So a solid melee attack there. And actually, the Orion is just one shot. Beautiful. That was a very nice shot. So next up is going to be their Phase 19 mover, which is this Sunder. And that's their only remaining unit that hasn't moved except for maybe this Freedom out here. That guy's way out there, though. The Sunder chose not to fire again.
Commander?
That's intriguing. I'm going to position our Archer down this way.
Affirmative.
And unfortunately, we didn't get it as turned as I would have liked. But I'm also going to brace it. So we're going to guard and entrench it. That'll be fine. Next up would be our Marauder. The Marauder can position here, and I feel like this is a decent spot for it. We can fire rear arc on this Orion. Not the greatest of hit odds on any of these. Even that knocked down Marauder is not the greatest of hit odds. Okay. We just don't have good hit odds on this Marauder right now. So I guess we'll take this shot and see what we can get done. Not a lot is the answer, but I'm not surprised about that. So at this point, I kind of want our Nidhogg to come up here and just nuke the rear arc of this Orion and get some splash damage on that Sunder. And that's exactly what we're going to do. I'm hoping for the one shot on the Orion, and that should happen here, to be honest. Although the Daisy Cutter Bomb only has a 30% hit odds, I'm still going to do it. It's likely to hit here if it misses, and that would do splash damage to this Sunder.
Taking the shot.
Beautiful. So, -1 Orion. That looks good.
Target neutralized.
And we did some splash damage to that Sunder as well. Mostly rear arc there, but that's fine. Next up is our Epimetheus. And the Epimetheus is likely just going to move in and kick this Marauder. Yeah, let's do that.
Spotted. Engaging.
So that's a successful kick on the Marauder. Pilot panics and ejects. Perfect.
Let's go.
So that Seth is still a concern, but we really can't hit it right now.
Can't take much more of this.
So phase 15 is going to be that freedom. Let's see what it decides to do. It backs off and does not fire. Okay. So next up is our LRM crossbow. That can position here. The only unit it has clear LOS on is this Seth. Hit odds are not great. 15 evasive plus plus a lot of other things, actually. It's got the mimetic armor. It's got the ECM shield. It's going to be very hard to hit, but we have to start shooting it down at some point. So we're going to trigger its AMS here. We got a couple of hits in on it, and that's absolutely fine for now. The rifleman is going to position here as well. We're just going to pot shot at the Seth. We don't expect much out of this.
Giving them everything I've got.
Yeah, it was 0.9% hit odds. It's extraordinarily unlikely that we hit this Seth. I want to be really clear about that. It's not a great target to go after. The jerry-rig demolisher, however, can absolutely move in on the rear arc of this Maelstrom. Can we get a better rear arc? I don't know that that's better. We can position it here. Fire rear arc on the Maelstrom. I'm going to fire everything here on the off chance that we manage to take it down. I don't think the odds of that are super likely.
All weapons, fire.
We did get an engine crit right off the bat, though. Multiple engine crits there.
Scored a critical hit.
That's intriguing.
SRMs are out.
Okay, so next up would be our Devastator. The Devastator is almost certainly going to have to go for this Seth. I'm thinking here for optimal range, but maybe we want that extra evasive just in case. I'm going to position it here. We are in danger from the Seth destroying something. There's no doubt about that. I'm going to fire precision AC-20s on the off chance we hit. We're probably not going to.
Affirmative.
We did manage to trigger the AMS at least, so that's something.
Negative damage.
But we're going to have a really hard time hitting that Seth. That's for sure.
I'm here.
So next up would be the Grasshopper. I'm going to position the Grasshopper out here, and this is bait for the Seth. The Grasshopper and the Black Knight are both bait. We would prefer that they hit them than that they go for the Archer again. For sure. We'll fire on it, but I don't expect to get much out of that. Okay. Did it AMS that? Probably. It probably AMS'd it. Okay, that's okay. And next up is going to be our Marksman SPG. The Marksman is absolutely going to fire on the Seth in flak mode. And let's see what happens.
Targeting Alpha Strike.
Nice. We got some damage on the Seth. That's what we want to see. Okay. So next up, the Seth moves in phase 19.
Talk to me.
So our Crossbow X can move up over here or down over here. I want to know where the damage is on this thing. Kind of evenly spread. Okay. So I'm going to position our Crossbow X about here. It's going to be side arc out this way. This is phase 20 that moves. Noted. Okay. We're going to need to fire on this Seth. We could, in theory, Warlord it. And I'm going to do that. Hit odds are still incredibly low here, even with the Warlord. Yeah, it's that target moved plus 15, and we failed our sensor roll. This barely seems worth it at this point. I didn't realize we failed our sensor roll before I Warlorded it. But okay, we can trigger the AMS at any rate. We didn't hit any of those, but the AMS did get triggered, and that Seth can only AMS so many missiles.
I will be done.
So the Black Knight is going to position somewhere out over this way. I do want this to be bait. So I'm going to position it here. This is not a good spot for the Black Knight. I want to be clear about that. But this is a good spot for them to attack the Black Knight with their bombs. That's the idea, hopefully. So once again, we're getting ECM'd here. That mimetic armor, 15 target moved. It's really hard to hit. And I'm not going to move anything else until that Seth moves, I feel like. Unless it's potentially our Nidhogg.
Is it?
Okay, phase 22. So they're going to be moving their Hunchback over here. That's fine. Now, it's got an LBX AC-20, so it is slightly spooky, but we'll see what it gets done here. Nothing at all. Beautiful. Next, they're going to move this Maelstrom. Now, the Maelstrom really can't take another rear arc attack from our jerry-rig demolisher. It went up over here and braced. Okay. Now is the pain zone. The Seth is going to move. It's got a lot of weapons left. Let's see who it attacks with them, but we simply can't shoot it down when it's in this position. So it needs to move, and actually it didn't fire, and only has 9 evasive now.
What's up, boss?
That's fantastic. So our crossbow could position somewhere where it has ideally LOS, but it doesn't actually get that. So it's going to have to move over here instead. We could fire out at this Maelstrom, 22.8. I kind of feel like we are best off here, though, going for the Seth, even on the 0.9%, because I want to trigger its AMS. There we go. AMS triggered, and that is, in my opinion, very worthwhile. It AMS'd 16 of those missiles. So next up, they move their Sunder, and let's see what they do with it. Moving up over here, firing on our Archer. Ow. Okay. So structure exposure and a foot destruction on the Archer there. That could have been worse, though. They're focusing the Archer because it's carrying the intel, and that's to be expected. Now, I want to protect the left-hand side here, and that's indeed exactly what we're going to do with the Archer. And we can fire rear arc on the Seth, or we can fire on the Sunder. I want to fire on the Seth and trigger that AMS. Yes, hit odds are terrible.
Roger, Commander. I've got the shot.
We did get a couple of hits in there. It did not AMS any of those. So that is absolutely noted. The Epimetheus is going to step up here, and we're going to continue to fire on this Seth. These hit odds are not really worth this heat, so I'm going to do something like this. Okay. Continuing to do a little bit of damage there, but it's not AMSing, and that's beautiful. I don't want to fire the Marksman SPG right now. I want to reserve that. So we're going to move the Marauder out over here. From here, we could choose to fire on their Maelstrom, or we can pot shot out at this Seth for similar hit odds. We might hit our own Nidhogg, but I'm going to take that risk. Okay, no hits on the Seth. That thing's incredibly difficult for us to hit, and that's not shocking.
Good to go.
So the Marksman SPG is going to get reserved here. And now they're going to move their Freedom way out there, and it doesn't do anything. I'm going to take our Nidhogg up over to here, and we're going to hit the rear arc of this Sunder. I want to fire our AGM here, although we're in a little too close. So we're actually going to need to use a high explosive bomb. Not ideal. We're in a little too close to the Sunder. But okay, we'll do some rear arc damage there to that Sunder. I was hoping to use the AGM and get the kill on him, but unfortunately, we're just going to have to change our positioning on that a little bit. So that's fine. The Jerry-Rig Demolisher wants to head out over this direction and continue to go for this Maelstrom. Alternatively, we could position here and fire on that Seth. Hit odds are very likely to be very low. I am going to position here. We can fire on whatever we choose, and it's going to end up being the Maelstrom. And we missed everything. Okay. That's fine. It's not the end of the world.
Lucky that one.
So next up is going to be our Rifleman. The Rifleman only has access to the Maelstrom, so we're going to advance up over here and fire on that Maelstrom. Hit odds are not great, but we did manage to get one PPC in there at least, so that's okay. The Grasshopper is going to position here. We could fire on the Maelstrom. I think that we're just going to pot shot the Seth here, though.
Cry havoc.
Eventually, we'll get through it. We just need to roll enough, and we'll get this Seth down.
Right one.
So that's absolutely fine for now.
Standing by.
Next up is our Marksman SPG, and that is absolutely flacking this Seth.
I got it.
And we also splash damaged the Sunder there, which was good.
Standing
Then
by.
our Devastator can move up to about here.
Moving to position.
AC-20 at 11.7%. I'm going to take these odds.
Firing on target.
We did miss, which isn't shocking. This thing is really hard to
Feed
hit.
it in.
There's no doubt about that. We're trying.
Let me borrow their pom-poms and skirts,
Okay, so
'cause I'm
next
damn
up, the
excited
Seth
now.
moves in phase 15. So that Hunchy moves up, does not do anything again.
Commander.
I'm going to position our Nidhogg about... Oh, we need to move it a little further than this. About here. We're going to fire on that Sunder with our AGM. Light him up.
Target lock on rear arc.
And there we go. The Sunder is out of here. That's exactly what we wanted. And that's good. So next up in phase 21 is going to be their Freedom. We'll see if that even does anything. The Nidhogg is going to head out and attack the Freedom after it is... Well, next time it can move. Oh, that's actually the Maelstrom. The Maelstrom moved to here, which is interesting. The Epi Prime is going to step forward here. We're going to fire on that Seth Stealth VTOL, but there's not a lot that we can actually do here. I'm not going to fire the light AC-20 because we need to drop heat, but we're going to see what else we can get done, and we're going to trigger its AMS. It does still have some AMS.
Gotcha.
Okay, so AMS has been triggered there, and we got a little bit of damage into it, but that'll be fine for now.
I await your
Next
command.
up is our Black Knight. The Black Knight is going to position out over here, and we can fire on that Maelstrom or on the Seth Stealth VTOL, and we're going to fire this in X2 mode on our binary laser. Ooh, that was 44 damage into the rear arc of that Seth. That was actually a good roll. I like it. Its armor is getting low, believe it or not.
Waiting for orders.
I know it's hard to believe. So we still need to protect this left side on this archer, and I'm going to turn it like this. Now, this guy is already moved, and that's okay for now. These rolls are not good at all. We're firing blind, apparently. Okay. Well, I still want to trigger that AMS, and the archer needs
Right,
to be
Commander.
reserved in the rear. So the AMS was fired there. We didn't hit a single missile. Given what those odds were like, that's not surprising.
I've got
The
your
Crossbow X is our next mover, and we're
Roger.
going to move in here. I'm absolutely going, or I would absolutely Warlord here if we hadn't wasted it last turn. We're going to need to not fire one of our medium lasers here, but let's fire the rest. 21% chance on these MRMs, and that'll get us a decent amount. Now, their AMS flare is out of ammo at this point, so that is a really good sign for us.
Commander.
The crossbow is going to move out over here, and with SAM ammo,
Roger.
we're going to fire on the Seth Stealth VTOL. Now, we don't have the resolve to Warlord here, otherwise I would. I'm not going to fire the medium lasers. There's not much point on less than 1% chance, but let's see what else we get here. More armor damage to the rear arc of that Seth. It gets to move now, so we'll see what it does here. Is it going to continue to disengage? It's incredibly low on its armor in its rear arc. It should turn its front arc to us if it's smart. Turn its front arc to us and drop bombs like on the Crossbow X or something. It went for our Nidhogg. That's not a good move.
Now that was a heavy hit.
Okay, so we AMS'd a lot of that, and it has how much evasive? 4? No, that's a Freedom. The Seth has 6. That's so much better. Okay, this is pretty over. Our Marauder can break cover here. We can
Moving
fire
to
on the
position.
Maelstrom, but I'm going to fire on the Seth. Absolutely. Light him up.
Target confirmed.
I was really hoping to tag him there. Sadly, it didn't happen. We're going to keep focusing fire here. It's going to go down very, very soon.
Aye, aye.
The Jerry-Rig Demolisher is not exactly going to be focusing fire here, though. I would like to get the Jerry-Rig Demolisher out into rear arc of this Maelstrom. As it is, we're going to have to position it here and just kind of pot-shot the heavy rifles out at this Seth, but there's no real point in that. We'll pot-shot them at this Hunchy.
Affirmative.
Okay. No hits there, which is sad. It was like 46% hit chance. It's not shocking, but it is sad. Next up is going to be our SPG. The SPG is absolutely going for the Seth here.
Got it.
That's some internal damage. I like it.
Waiting for orders.
The Devastator is going to close in, and
Acknowledge.
we have one more set of precision AC-20 ammo. Let's give it a go, but these hit odds are not great.
Roger that.
Okay. This thing is
20
incredibly
ammo
hard to
depleted.
hit. No doubt about that.
Ready for orders.
But the Grasshopper can move up to here. And we're just going to
walking
continue
here.
to take these rolls.
Firing all weapons.
And actually, that was it. Fantastic.
One less target.
Enough low odds
Damn it.
hits will
Damn it.
eventually destroy it.
Receiving.
So now the Rifleman has no targets, so it can just walk over
Ready
here
now.
and sink its heat. That'll be fine. And now it's next
It's on
round.
now.
So they're going to move this Hunchback right away, and that fires on our Black Knight. That's okay. We left our Black Knight purposely exposed.
Gonna need a medic.
They did manage to get a head hit there, which is rude.
It's a hard
But the
hit there.
Hunchback didn't move.
Yes, Commander.
So you know what that means. Wait a sec. How did the Hunchback shoot us from there? We don't have LOS on it. Intriguing. Well, we're going to position our Black Knight down over here.
Move order received.
That autocannon shot hitting the CT. That's okay. And these hit odds are very low for our Black Knight. Noted. I'm going to fire this on the Hunchback, but it's not great. Did we fail our sensor roll? No? Okay. Well, let's see what we get done. A little bit of front arc damage there. That'll be fine. Next up, they're going to move their Maelstrom, and I'm hoping that they expose their rear arc to this jerry-rig demolisher. Let's see what happens there. And of course, the plan is for our Nidhogg to go after their freedom. That's rear arc exposure up here.
Commander.
Okay. The Epi Prime can position here.
On my way.
And fire rear arc on this Maelstrom. It's long range, but we can absolutely crit fish this. Just checking these heat levels. Yeah, we'll just fire something like this. This is a crit fish.
Locked on rear arc. Show me
We did get a couple of hits into that exposed torso.
Nice.
Heat sink double
Got
destroyed.
baptism.
That's fine. So the Nidhogg, as I said, is planning to head up over this direction and go for the freedom. I'm not going to drop any bombs on it, but I am going to scramble its sensors with our PPC. So that'll be fine.
Talk to me.
The Crossbow X is absolutely in a much better position to fire on this Maelstrom, and that is indeed exactly what we're going to do. I'll let our heat sink a little bit from the medium laser, but light up that Maelstrom, and we're crit fishing. Engine destruction, and the Maelstrom is gone. Beautiful. Next up is our crossbow, and the crossbow really is going to be hitting this Hunchback. I don't expect to get any LOS out over here, so we're just going to step forward here and light up this Hunchback as best we can. Probably better off to be an ER ammo. Okay. So that'll be fine.
Good to go.
Our archer is really going to be doing the same sort of thing. And that wasn't quite in range there. Okay, we'll just let the archer sit. That's okay. So this should be the freedom moving now. Let's see what it does. Fires on our crossbow. Okay, indirect, but doing a little bit of armor damage there. That'll be fine.
Armor's getting stripped off.
Yep, that's okay.
Daniel.
Our grasshopper is just going to step forward and sink heat. That's fine.
Awaiting orders.
The Marauder is probably interested in staying largely where it's at, but we can take cover here and fire on this Hunchback.
Firing all weapons.
Not the greatest shot in the world, that's for sure.
Standing by.
Our Rifleman can advance forward up here for now and just call that good. And next up would be our Devastator. The Devastator is pretty much just going to go rescue Savarok at this point, I feel like. And the jerry-rig demolisher, did I just see a rear arc? No, that was an obstructed shot. Okay. Let's position it here and fire side arc on this Hunchy. Okay, mediocre hits there, but that's fine. The Hunchy is just in a slightly strange location right now. We can drop our Marksman SPG in artillery mode on either this Hunchy or the Freedom. I'm actually leaning towards the Freedom here. It's higher hit odds as well. Ooh, I think that hit behind the Freedom, which would be ideal. Nope, that did not hit the rear arc. Okay, that's a little bit sad.
How can I help?
Okay, so the Crossbow X is going to need to sink a little heat. It can't really move while its heat is that high.
I'm ready.
The Black Knight can advance forward a little bit here, and we're going to continue to fire on this Hunchy.
Roger that.
Not great hit odds there. We're not doing all that
Over
well
the red line.
in terms of these hit odds. We'll see if the Hunchy decides to move here. It did. It moved out of cover, fired on our Black Knight, doing 120 damage with that LBX. However, the Black Knight's armor is fine.
Reporting major armor loss.
Oh yeah, absolutely. 120 damage will
Standing
do
by.
that. But broadly, it's okay. So we can try to get in behind this Freedom, which would be the goal. Looks like that's not a this round sort of thing. But we can absolutely position in this side arc, which we're going to do. And fire another snub-nose PPC.
Roger.
There we go, 72 more damage into that side arc. The Marksman SPG can fire on either of these again, and we're just going to fire on this Freedom.
Yep.
Soften him up. Again, that's going to be on the front arc. I would prefer that it gets in behind. Although, arguably, we're better off attacking the side arc at this point.
Ready for orders.
Yeah, I think we probably are. So let's take the side arc attack on this hunchback as well. That light AZ-20 is not going to be great because of heat. The radiation is making heat a bit of a problem. And also, I think the radiation is messing with our sensors. We did get a head hit there, though, so that's good. Next up would be the Grasshopper. The Grasshopper can position here, and we can light up this hunchback as best as we can. Yeah, it's just very tough to hit the hunchy over here. Okay.
Roger that.
Well, we'll do what we can. This guy doesn't have that much armor, so he won't last too much longer, especially as we start to approach. The archer is just going to slightly turn over here and lob some missiles.
Affirmative.
Again, not a lot of hit odds, but that's okay. Crossbow moving up and continuing to soak some armor off of that hunchback.
Give them everything you got.
There we go.
Reporting.
And our Marauder is going to position out over here. Light him up. Man, we just can't hit that autocannon. We did get a structure exposure and another head hit there, so that's noted. The Freedom backs off a little bit, fires on our crossbow. For the time being, our crossbow's fine with this. No problem. So next up is our Rifleman, which is not going to get any
Yes,
LOS.
I'm there.
That's okay.
Yep.
Our Jerry-Rig Demolisher is going to close in over here and go for this, ideally kill, but we'll see what happens with that. Okay. Only one internal hit there, not too much going on. Our Devastator is going to go rescue Savarok. There we go. So Savarok has been claimed, and our crossbow can move up to about here. This is still obstructed LOS, and these hit odds are actually kind of okay. You know what? I'll take it. I'm even going to Warlord this. Light him up.
Triggering an Alpha strike.
And there he goes. The Hunchback is out of
That's
here.
one less
So
possible.
finally, all we need to do is take out that Freedom. So the crossbow can position up over here, and we can lob some missiles at the Freedom, softening up its armor a little bit. Not a lot of missiles, but some. And this is on its right side, so this is the correct side for the Nidhogg.
Standing by.
That looks good. The Black Knight is just going to
On the way.
position up over here, sink its heat. That'll be fine.
Good to go.
The Epi Prime is going to do the same. We don't really need to do too much other than move our Nidhogg at this point. Although LRMs
Commander.
and the SPG, we're definitely going to fire at the Freedom.
Engaging.
What do we get here? Mediocre artillery shot at best,
Hit 'em
but
hard.
we got some damage anyway. And
Receiving
next up is going to be the Nidhogg. So it needs to position out in this side arc for sure. I'm just wondering about that minimum distance, right? Apparently that's not in LOS, so we could have an obstructed here. It would be about here.
On the
Okay,
move.
that's fine. We can fire our AGM-10 and our bomb here, and hopefully we can eliminate it through this side arc.
Copy that. Let's hit them
Well, we took out the
hard.
leg anyway.
Critical. I've got multiple weapons with no ammo.
So the Freedom has no leg now and gets knocked down. And the pilot ejects. Okay, perfect. So we are out of here. We could continue or reserve. That actually, we can't press reserve. It's just kind of funny that this button popped up. Okay, that is absolutely fine. We did take some damage, no doubt about it, and we need to do some repairs on our 2 crossbows that Yang isn't going to do. So that is noted. We'll need to do manual repairs there, but everything else should be good. We should have Savarok back now, and that should be absolutely fine. Okay, so we don't get any money out of that. We weren't expecting to get any money out of that, but we do actually get some offset there, so that's good. The Archer is, I believe, going to require manual intervention as well, so that's fine. We don't get any salvage either, which I think is very strange. I think with those sorts of missions, we should get all of the salvage. Maybe it just auto-assigns it, but I don't know. That's very strange. I feel like we should get all of the salvage, but no pay on those missions, because who else is involved? Absolutely no one. That's who. Well, let's get this loaded up and see how much our repairs are going to be. We expect to be going negative on this mission, absolutely, because we're recovering Savarok, right? That's the point here. So that'll be fine. 121k, that's not too bad. Go ahead and get started on that, Yang. We're definitely going to have to take a financial report. This archer needs to be manually repaired, as does our 2 crossbows. So we'll do something like that. And I want to check in on the rifleman as well. That was underweight, but I believe it's supposed to be. So let's hop into the rifleman really quickly here and just make sure. Yeah, this is as good as it's going to get. So that's fine. I do want to grab the archer here, so we'll refit this. All we need to do is repair the foot and max out that armor. So we'll validate that, and that'll be okay. The archer will be done soon enough. Then this crossbow needs to be refit. It's not ideal in terms of its armor, that's for sure. We'll max out that armor, 0.225 tons remaining. Okay, I think that that's fine. There's not really too much else that we can do about that. Like, what are we going to do with basically a 1/4 ton? Not a lot. We could maybe toss in additional MRM ammo, but that would result in a lot of armor reduction. Unless we went for, like, heavy ferro, but I'm not sure we'd have the slots to do that. I'm just going to call that good. It will be a little bit underweight, but that'll be fine. Now we need to do this crossbow, and that has basically the same situation where we just need to max out that armor. That's exactly even. Okay, that looks good. So we'll validate that. That is absolutely fine, and everything else should be good to go. So we'll need to get this Bandersnatch repaired. That's not exactly the highest of priorities. If we don't do that, well, 6 days. So it's going to be the financial report no matter what. I think we prioritize the Bandersnatch here. We get these done in 6 days, and then these will be done in 3 days after that. So we'll just be 3 days into this financial report. Alternatively, we could do it this way. And maybe that's not the worst idea. The Bandersnatch is not a high priority, right? So if we do it this way, then we'll be done, I think, a little bit sooner, but we'll have less time put into the Bandersnatch. I think that's okay. It is past time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we're going to head out yet again. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Kentogan, Ali Lee, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12 UK, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.